If I were an undercover agent, and who's to say that I'm not, my cover would be that I'm just a fat, lazy slob who sits around his house and doesn't do much. And that is exactly the sort of deception you will see on Graceland, a new show premiering on USA Networks that chronicles the lives of agents in the FBI, DEA, and other agencies. Let's take a look.
What are you doing? I'm a teacher.
I'm trying to make him on the PGA Tour.
Reservist with the 316th Quartermaster Company.
You are now an undercover agent, and your lies are your life.
Graceland, a new original series, premieres Thursday, June 6th at 10 on USA.
The show premieres on Thursday, June 6th at 10, 9 Central. And until then, you can check out the link below for a 5-minute preview. I'm not wearing any pants, but you can't see that, so who cares? So I went to the zoo yesterday, and I like the zoo. In fact, I love the zoo. People are always saying, I don't love enough stuff. People are always saying, TJ, you're so negative. Why don't you like anything? Well, I like the zoo. I like going to the zoo. Although, it does put into sharper focus my disdain for the human race. So, I guess that it's kind of a give and take sort of thing, the zoo. I like seeing the animals. I like seeing the vast array of different forms of life that exist on this planet. You know, all of these creatures are perfectly evolved for their habitat, for their climate, for the resources that are available in their area. You know, it's just beautiful and majestic and awe-inspiring to me. And they have these little plaques at the Columbus Zoo. That's the zoo I went to. They have these things, I call them fact plaques, because they're basically just They're plaques that they tell you a little bit about the animal, and one of the things they tell you is how the animal's doing, how it's doing in the wild. And guess what? 80-90% of these animals not doing too well. Threatened or endangered. And why are they threatened or endangered? It's almost always us, human beings. We're to blame. It's hunting them for their meat, or for, you know, in the case of the poor black rhino, their horn, because idiots in some countries think that the horns cure cancer. There's people that hunt them for the exotic pet trade, and as if hunting them to extinction weren't enough, we also destroy their habitats with deforestation and pollution and climate change and all kinds of stuff like that. Now, those facts alone are enough, in my opinion, to justify my distaste for the human race. But then there's the separate matter of the people at the zoo. Specifically, the parents who cannot control their children. I'll give you one example of many, because this is the worst example, I think. The Columbus Zoo has a kangaroo enclosure, and it's really cool because you just go in there and there's no bars, there's no cage that separates you from the kangaroos. You're just in there with the kangaroos. And I think that is extremely awesome, to just be standing in an area where there's kangaroos. Because, I mean, if you live in Australia, that's probably nothing special. But here in America, that's pretty awesome. And there was some ghoulish little imp that would never have existed if his mother didn't get drunk one night 5 or 6 years ago at some bar. And he's sitting there roaring at the kangaroos, like, rah! Rah! Like, he's trying to convince the kangaroos that he's a dangerous predator. He's trying to scare them, basically, because them just sitting around is too boring for him. And his parents, his mom, just kind of like, oh, settle down, sweetie. Don't scare the kangaroos, sweetie pie. And I'm just sitting there thinking, stop it, sweetie pie? No, smack that kid upside the head. It's not child abuse, it's the prevention of kangaroo abuse. He's obviously an obnoxious, ignorant little twit who has no respect for anything else on this planet but himself. And I would think that it's your job as a parent to instill that respect into him. I mean, maybe you don't have to smack him upside the head, but surely this calls for something a little bit more severe and stern than, oh, you might want to knock that off, sweetie pie. And if I'm not putting up with stupid kids, I'm putting up with stupid adults. There was a grown man who pointed to a gibbon and said, look, a chimp. Look, a chimp. Okay, let's just review this. Gibbon, chimp. Gibbon, chimp. Gibbon, chimp. They don't look alike, okay? But okay, you know what? He's ignorant of something that I'm not. And it's easy to feel superior to someone like that, but you know what? I acknowledge readily that there are people out there who know things that I don't know, and they might look down at me the same way I look down at this guy, and I admit that. But there was a sign! There was a sign that said Gibbons! A big, obvious sign! Gibbons! Read the sign! If you don't know the animal, read the sign! Surely there's no excuse for not reading the sign unless you have severe dyslexia or some sort of developmental disorder, which I don't think this guy had. I think it was just good old-fashioned, plain stupidity. And that's why I hate human beings. I just do. I think we're the least likable species on the planet. Now, obviously, there are people I like. I have friends, I have family, I have people that I look up to and admire. Sure. But in general, I don't like this species. I'm just saying. I just don't care for it. Is that okay? I actually would prefer even mosquitoes. Because at least mosquitoes are honest. They want your blood, and that's what they do. They go up to you, they land on you, they suck your blood. And that's pretty annoying, but it's not as annoying as human beings who drain something far more valuable from me than my blood. They drain my spirit, and more importantly, they drain any sort of prospect or inkling of hope for the future. I mean, really, if the human race went extinct tomorrow, the rest of the planet would be better off. Is that not true? Unless we do something really impressive like stop a meteorite from hitting the planet, I don't think that it was worth it to create us. I think we are evolution's big mistake. I know you've heard it a million times from me, folks, but we suck. I'm sorry, but we just do. Not any one person's fault, but we suck. Sorry. I'm the Amazing Atheist. If you like this video, subscribe to my channel, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, everywhere else that you can find me.